Hi guys, wanted to show you some weird Kremlin pictures that I found. So let's just start this slide show. Well, this is the first one. This probably has the classical view, but what I don't like around is this nothing is very clean here. So looks pretty much abandoned, right? Like, I mean, uh, look at all this grass, all this litter here. So, and this looks like not painted, so it's like very strange. Also, the Kremlin looks, the walls look wet, uh, or maybe not painted also, because in some pictures we see it white, and here we have it like type of even black, so it's like totally red color, because we know the Kremlin is made from bricks, right? So where we see the black, it's probably black and red. Where we see it white, it's light red and white. Okay. Also not mentioning that here we see something like a cab or something and a horse, but also we don't see any shadows of moving people or anything like this, so it's like a lonely cab here. Probably also a stage picture, like I cannot, as you can see the shadow is in this direction, so it's afternoon or after like 4 o'clock or something like this. It's not morning, because otherwise the sun would be on this side. So it's around 3 o'clock, something like this, and nobody is around, right? We don't see any shadows of people, so-called blur or whatever, because in those experiments that they try to show us right now is that people, if the people move, we see this blur. So whatever. The next one is also, remember this one. Also we see something similar here. The ground is rough, looks like it's like not very, looks like it's just, also abandoned. Nobody is taking care of this. There's no garden, no parking grass, nothing. Just, just ruins of what used to be something like a pavement or whatever, and now it's just, nothing. Also the stocks, pile of wood here and here, also here looks like wood or something, or maybe some construction material. Rather small trees here, like not older than 15-20 years, as you can see. Very small trees, no big trees, as you can see. Okay, the city looks pretty much painted, not as ugly as the walls here. Okay, let's go to the next one. Another one is inside, from inside the Kremlin. Also we see some stockpiles of wood here, and here. Not a single person Okay, also very strange. Nobody's posing or something. Okay, next one. And here we go. We have a bunch of people here, right? So it's kind of strange. It's kind of strange that we don't see any people in some pictures. Here we go. We have a lot of people already. And those guys with hidden hands here looking very interesting. Even kids have, each and every one has strange looking hand here and here, and no hand. Right hand is missing on all of guys. Alright, and we see a bunch of caps, a little blur here, so it's not like totally working right. If this was a moving cap, probably it's not stage picture. Finally we see not stage picture, right? We see people moving around, we see caps sneaking around, and look at them. There's no blur, almost no blur, so no exposure here, right? So how come? How come, guys? Or maybe you're gonna say some other explanation is working this time. So kind of double standards, guys. I know this picture is supposed to be older, I mean newer than those with no people, right? Still pretty much the same technology of picturing. I don't think anything could be changing that fast in this photography, right? But who knows what explanation next time they're gonna be bringing us, right? Over here we see a little blur here on the people working, but still we see people. So also, what are they building here? Or maybe they're constructing something. Maybe they're trying to build some underground. Look at these things. These things probably work for making these arches from the bricks. This is how they did it. So they were not stupid. Okay, even though it's a second half of 19th century, the skilled labor was pretty much productive. But look here, what do we have here? Some kind of strange construction. Probably they're reconstructing it from this where. Look, this is a pyramidal type of thing here. Looks very strange, and they're trying to bury it. So look what they're carrying, something to, and dumping over here to bury it here. So they're using the older construction here, maybe a previous star fort, and right now they bring in all this soil from the hill. They probably excavated it before, and now they're bringing it back to bury it. Look at this hill over here. There's nothing like this anymore in Kremlin. So this is probably the earth that they excavated from here. Okay, very strange picture, very strange picture. I don't know what they're gonna explain it with. Okay, by the way, this church is missing right now. No church here. Okay, let's go to the next one. This doesn't have a very good resolution, but we see also some type of mountain area close to the Kremlin walls, and over here also. So it doesn't look any much the same, anything the same that we observe on pictures of 19th century. So this probably 18th or 17th century, but Kremlin looks perfect. Look at it. It's all white, it's bright, it's shining. It looks very clean. although it has no embankments or something like this, and the river looks natural. Some type of fisherman here, some rider here. Looks pretty Tartarian. It was so-called Slavic part of Tartaria. Tartaria had a Chinese part. Tartaria had some other tribes, and one of the biggest tribes probably was the Slavic tribes of Tartaria, which were actually used to create the Russia from St. Petersburg, and then used to conquer the rest of Tartaria. That's what they do in each and every time when they want to conquer somebody. They split apart, propaganda, they brainwash the people and use them to conquer the whole place. Also inside the Kremlin, pretty funny, right? We see some type of pavement here of very, I hope, decent quality, and we see some rough mud and dirt over here, right? Windows look bricked or something, probably because it was cold in the winter, so they bricked the windows not to use them. Look, they all closed, like nobody is inhabiting here. Here we have some windows look open, and some of them bricked up also. Look at the white color, so they bricked up and colored them because they weren't using them. I mean, if the climate did change at that time, so we also could see some of these fancy houses with the bricked windows, not for fun. It was for, efficiency, because you cannot, just hit the whole place. If you don't use those windows, you close them with the bricks. Right? Okay, next one. So I mean, if they excavated the whole area and they scratched it to the pavement, this is what we see. Actually, we see these leftovers or byproducts of the work, because they didn't clean the area totally. Maybe to leave some evidence that Russia was muddy or something like this. So it's like, look at this country, we totally ruined it to the ground, and they don't have anything anymore. Maybe, I mean, Tartaria. Also, look at this embankment over here. So maybe not that much time passed from that painting that we saw from 17th century. Kremlin looks as fancy as it was, but we see this huge embankment, which is pretty professionally done. And on the other side we see this island already working, and we see this bridge. So it's pretty much industrial civilization to create such a beauty in such short period of time, without ruining the landscape and this whole beauty. And look at here. Remember the 3 or 4, 6 floors on the ground video that I've been showing? Look at this place. This is that building, and here we see this underground level that he was going down. So it's like on the hill right now. Okay. So this is the building. It looks completely different now. It looks more antique, I say. Right? Another interesting one with no people. Kremlin is almost red. Look at here. They were not painting it for a long time. Looks really red here. right? This is also some old picture. I've been walking around on here, and we don't have this St. Nicholas Cathedral anymore, so it was demolished or something. Pretty much reminds me of a Tartarian type of building. Looks pretty much fancy, but the clothes are European, so it's like, I guess it's like the beginning of 19th century. Those guys look totally European. It's probably the end of 19th century, last quarter of it. We have this construction here for maybe coronation or something like this. I hope it's not that time that a bunch of people were killed. Maybe probably the one before. Still, the capital was St. Petersburg, and they went to the ancient capital, as they called it, to do the coronation. It was crown procedure, so it's when you get a crown. So it's some of these old buildings in Kremlin, and it has something like a griffins here, or maybe edited griffins. Also, the red square, the outside perimeter of Kremlin, which leads us to think that some type of river was here, but we see the wall is continuing down, so they could be saying that it was a channel or something. But still, the engineering level exceeds our thinking. Look at this Nicholas Palace from here. Also, we see mud flooded windows here, and I've showed a picture of this area being cleaned up. So they kind of excavated it from, it was probably this high, and they excavated it about 5 feet, or maybe 4 feet of mud, as was shown on the picture from the Kremlin video, right? Also, another view, some underground facility in this hill. It looks like they just started to clean up after the mud flood. And this is just a view from the other side. We've been watching it from this side, and this is another view from this side. It's before the reconstructing of this area with those arch ceiling red brick construction. Or probably after it, I don't know. Looks very old. Or maybe it's just another part of this construction, and what we saw, we can see it to the right, and we don't see it from here. So I don't know, what are you thinking? Okay. From this type of view, we see it's already cleaned up, and it's working for the coronation procedures. This tower is ready here, this church is working, all those pavements are nice and clean, all this park is clean. Look at this. This is the way it was. Still, some walls are not painted enough, but probably this was the problem of funding. Or maybe they used it to create this old look and not painted it each and every day. Who knows? Tower looks red, but the walls still have white color. Sometimes it's not painted good. Also, some old picture from Kremlin. This monument is right now in front of this church, so they kind of moved it like about 100-200 yards. Watches are very fancy, don't look like the ordinary watches. And look at here, we have a column of some construction to the left. I don't know what's this building. I never seen it before. Very fancy one, probably left from Tartarian times. Also another view from this the ground wall. So it's also red brick, as you can see. Doesn't look wet from a channel or something. It looks dry, pretty much dry. Doesn't look like it was some channel or something, but we see some pictures when it was some water here. Who knows, maybe it was just in a star fort which had water channel around it, which was filled with the natural rivers, 2 rivers in fact, that circulate near the Kremlin. Also we see this picture of pretty much abandoned. Look at the walls, they look ugly, totally abandoned. Maybe the lack of funding, maybe lack of people, maybe something else. Maybe we are right about the missing people, right? I hope we are not right, of course, but maybe we are right. On pictures everything's fine, people are walking around, as you can see. And look at this pavement before. It looks like very interesting. So it's not just something, it's a stone pavement. Look at this. Or ceramic, I mean, something similar to this. And this is already built, so this is like also the same period of time, probably before the flood, or just a couple of years near this procedure, because I don't know. Or maybe this is an imaginary picture, who knows. Just, you know, picturing from making it older, but I don't know. The design of hats look pretty European here. I don't see any Tartarian guys, Tartarian barbaric clothes, so probably the fashion was different in different towns. So it's like Tartaria was big, so probably the western parts were leaning towards the official fashion of European countries. Another view from the Red Square. Yeah, I always thought that this tower, but something is not right, because this house, I don't know what this house is around, something like this. I've never seen this house before. Very interesting. Oh, it's an imaginary picture again, but it's inside the Kremlin, and they watch to the side of Red Square, so it was very different from what we saw on the pictures of photographs. Needs to be researched more. Let's watch some pictures from St. Petersburg. Also very interesting, because we see also the same stuff. We see a couple of cabs here, but no people. Totally see here one person. Here we have another one here. Maybe someone here, but on the streets there's nobody on the streets here. Look at this mud all around the place. dirt and mud. But remember, they were talking about the mud on the pavements. And so it was like an explanation of a horse crap theory, that the crap was flowing into the windows. So they, you know, went to the second floor and buried the first one, so the crap won't be flowing into the windows. And in New York, they also went to the second floor and left the basement for poor guys who were renting those houses, and just, you know, so as higher as you can get, not to smell this crap and stuff like this. So as you can see, the pavements are all dry and don't seem to have any horse crap on them. All this crap here in the mud on the streets. You probably just can't clean all this dirt in a couple of years or decade. It just, you know, it's gonna be eternal unless you clean and excavate each and everything. It's like all your city is filled with some construction, reconstruction. All this dirt is everywhere, so it's like a very big problem. In fact, if you check here, what the heck is this? It's just, you know, can you see the level of excavation of this street? So look, so probably was excavated. So, and this is the byproducts of this excavation. We see here also they excavated a little bit just to have those windows, some ventilation. I don't know why they did it, to make them look like basements so they can use it actually. Probably it would be a great explanation for this. Why did they excavate them to look this way? And probably because if you let the people use those buildings, they're gonna be asking questions why we have windows that lead nowhere. And if you have just a little space with air where you can see some, you know, maybe some pavement and stuff like this, you can say, yeah, this is a window. Actually, this is a basement window, how it looks. So they won't be asking any questions anymore. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Also, the whole city is under reconstruction. Look at this. We have this building in construction here. A whole bunch of cabs here, and a line of people probably. What are they doing here? Standing here, I don't know. Maybe aligned to something. And they just, you know, look at those shadows. This is how people look when they walk around in those pictures. So don't believe those guys that you won't see any blur or shadows. Look at this. People moving, and we see it. So exposure doesn't work. Exposure explanation doesn't work. We should see some shadows, some movement, some, I don't know. This is 1850s, guys. It's late 1850s, 1858. So just a couple of years before that panoramic picture that I presented in my video of missing people. So it's a couple of years before. It's not panoramic, but it's all in all sides. He pictured it from. I'm not talking about amount of glass here in those windows, amount of roof metal. I'm not talking about amount of bricks, amount of splendid constructions here. I'm talking about amount of visible reconstruction here. Look, we see people here. It's people. It's people, guys. They're working. Also, here's a person, somebody. So it's like probably they came here and they working, guys. They're reconstructing the city. That's what they're doing. Everything is water, mud. Look at this. Everything. But they already cleaned some stuff, as you can see. probably working not 1 year, maybe second or third year to clean stuff up. Still can't do it totally because look at the quality of the picture. Look at this. So old pictures. First pictures of St. Petersburg, in fact. First pictures. It's such a beauty. And look here. We see people. They are moving. And we see that, but we don't see 500,000 people as it's supposed to be, right? But we see some people and they move. Those people probably working, doing something, cleaning stuff. I'm saying that the numbers are missing. 500,000 people in such a small area would be so dense you would see all those shadows around. But we don't see it. We don't see smoke or something. Looks like an autumn or maybe early winter, but we don't see any smoke. So what are they heating from? Probably nobody is in the houses. The houses are conserved, preserved for the future in evidence which were not brought yet. Look at this. Muddy squares. This slippery, slick dirt that's left on the streets. They just can't clean it up because it's impossible. You can't. It has to be dried and has to be probably vacuum cleaned. You just can't do it. You have to wash it with some car washing stuff. Otherwise you won't be able to do it. Or create a pavement above it, a new pavement. So many streets, so many chimneys here, no smoke, only a couple of cabs here. Okay. So I mean the explanation of exposure doesn't work, right? Hotel Napoleon, look at this. So it even has some sign. Also we see some buried windows here. Probably also excavated street. Very weird pictures. Okay, no smoke at all from any chimney. But the huge town, as you can see, huge town. And very small amount of people on the streets, very small amount. Okay guys, thanks a lot for watching and see you later. Bye.